So let's talk a little bit about Schmidt's view on the experiential event building steps. So when Schmidt talks about developing and managing an experiential event, when he talks about the idea of creating and enhancing events, he sort of takes the same perspective as we have over the course, and it is sort of a combination of Pine and Gilmore and his own things. So he once again starts off like everyone else, and that is focusing on the core experience. What is the core experience, and what do we mean by the blank experience? In our case, for instance, what do we mean by the Lee Business School graduation experience? You need to define the experience, you need to understand the experience, and you need to understand the dimensions of the experience. When Pine and Gilmore talk about defining the experience and the dimensions, they think about it differently than Schmidt does. When Schmidt thinks about the dimensions of the experiences, he thinks about the SEMs, or the strategic experiential modules. That is, the senses, the feeling, the thinking, the action, the relating to the particular experience. Then, of course, Schmidt talks about the experiential audit in the strategic experiential modules in terms of the senses, the feelings, the thinking, the actions, and relating. And we talked a little bit about them. And of course, Bert has a separate chapter on each one of these. And of course, then we'll have a little bit of a separate lecture on each one of these a little later in the week. Then he goes on and he talks about turning the core experience concept into a reality. Part of this is the physical surroundings. That is the venue for the particular experience. And it could be, for something like an automobile, it could be the automobile itself. That is the physical automobile and the way that the automobile feels and sounds and tastes and those sorts of things. It's also about the people. And then, of course, it's also about the specific performance. That is exactly what happens to stimulate the person in terms of senses, feelings, thinking, acting, and relating. And then, of course, we need to talk about staging the experience, training the cast, understanding their parts, rehearsing, actually putting on the event, production issues, engaging the audience or the experience attendees, quality control, and the feedback. So in summary, we need to think about what is the purpose of the experiential product, what is it that we're selling, what is that key selling point, what is the core experience, and how do we make that core experience happen, and happen in a way that can't be replicated by anyone else.